All right, coming up on this episode of Bro, Do You Even Talk Pinball? We've got news and updates and everybody's favorite news segment, Topper Talk. Last but not least, we've got a review of Judge Dredd. All that and more coming right up.
Double super jackpot!
I need a ramp. I need a loop. I want targets I can hit. I need the scoop. I need a double super jackpot in my life. That's right.
And now, the Hall & Oates of pinball podcasting, Nick Lane and Kevin Manny of Buffalo Pinball. Whoa, boom shakalaka! Evening. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening. What's going on? It's Kevin over here and Nick over there. And we're coming at you with some more pinball talk. Nick, what's going on, man?
Not much. Not much. Another pandemic day and another remote day. I see your games in your background that I've not played at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be like a year since I've been over to Kevin's house, which is crazy. Kevin now doesn't have any hair in his head, and he's got several more pinball machines. Other than that, I guess things are normal.
Big changes this year. Big changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're still doing what we're doing. Things are looking better vaccine-wise, so maybe one of these years we can get together and hang out again, but I'm low on the list of folks who are going to get a vaccine, so it's going to be a while.
I got to say, I do enjoy... I really personally... I'm curious what your thoughts. I really enjoy the Saturday morning talking pinball, because I think I told you, I'm like... A lot of times we do the podcast after like a full day of work. You know, it's later at night, and somehow I still manage to summon a lot of anger and energy for that, but I feel fresh now. I've had some coffee on the weekend, so... maybe we can maintain this in some capacity when things get back to normal. But I am looking forward to doing the podcast with you in person, because that's kind of always something that I thought what was special about our podcast, not doing it remotely. I think our podcast is still good. I'm a little biased, but I can't wait till we get back to just doing that too in person.
Yeah, I mean, the worst part about not doing it in person is you can't hear all the sound effects when I play them, so you have no idea what I just played. There's some stuff.
This is why it's kind of shit right now, you know?
There you go. That's for the listeners at home.
No idea what Kevin just played.
There you go. You'll have to listen back and find out. All right. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, why don't we thank some partners? I did it last month, so you're up this month.
Happy to do so. Just get it on screen. I should know this by heart. All right. Want a special shout out and starting with a special thanks to our premier partner, Pin Stadium, pinstadium.com. Lighting kits for your pinball machines. Work on Jersey Jacks, Stearns, punny factories, what have you. Get Pin Stadium. It's a lighting kit that's app controlled. That's the key to it. There's so many app combinations. You can take a picture of any color on your playfield and match it with the lighting scheme. New products coming out all the time. And guess what? When you use coupon code Buffalo, you save 10%. I just got a lighting kit, Kevin, the other day for Walking Dead, which is a notoriously dark game. So I'm looking forward to getting that installed when I muster up the courage to do some pinball work, which is always a frightful thing, even though like I've installed Pin Stadiums myself. So that goes to show just how easy it is. Pin Stadium, special shout out and thanks to them. All right, the other partners that we love and that have been with us for many years, Double Danger Pinball, ddpinball.com. Save 15% when you use pinball code Buffalo, shirts and swag. themodcouplepinball.com. Go to the modcouplepinball.com for your modding needs. I still got to put the Kraken that I bought from that, but I got the monkey on it and it looks beautiful.
I got some mod couple pinball mods on my Willy Wonka that I got. Teaser. That's a
pictures
teaser.
you're gonna show? Are you gonna show pictures during the stream?
No, we'll talk about it. I don't have any pictures of it.
Okay, I'm curious to see it.
Okay.
But I love their mods. I love their mods, and what I like about I always say I'm not a huge mod person, but when the mod looks like it should have been there from the factory, that's when it's like a no-brainer for me, and that's the level of work that they do. Flipping Out Pinball, flippingoutpinball.com. You in the market for a pinball machine, then look no further. Go to flippingoutpinball.com. That's Zach Manning. He'll take care of you. Good guy alert. He'll take care of you from your purchase to when you open the box and your Stern game is broken. He's there to help you out. Flippingoutpinball.com. Pinside.com. Pinside.com. Inside.com really, truly helped me get into pinball when I started more than 10 years ago now. There's forums. There's the top 100. There's even, I mean, it goes beyond the top 100. You can review games, read ratings, get pinball tech help, everything, man. It is the source to go to when you're in the hobby and you want to learn more. It's pinside.com. Jersey Jack Pinball. Kevin and I are shills for this company. We love Jersey Jack Pinball. They make the most beautiful machines on the planet. They're crushing it right now with their Guns N' Roses. People are just blown away with the light show and the gameplay of that. They have also Willy Wonka, Pirates of the Caribbean, Wizard of Oz, and The Hobbit. Jersey Jack Pinball, we love them.
And dialed in.
Pinball.edu, pinballraffle.org. Go there for a chance to support a charity doing good work by getting kids with autism to play pinball in an effort to help them out. And then you can also buy a raffle ticket that will allow you to perhaps win a Stern pinball machine for the month. Not too bad. Community Beer Works, communitybeerworks.com, local brewery in Buffalo, delicious beer. PillCycle.com, Dan Burfield, huge fans of Dan Burfield. He is a good guy, and I love his artwork. I just did a game room video. I should mention that in the updates. We could talk about that a little bit later, but I did a game room video that's on YouTube, and I always showcase and show off Dan Burfield's art piece that I have hanging up. Kevin's got his art. We'll do custom, upcycled artwork. Reach out to Dan Burfield. Love him. Great work. CometPinball.com, our friend Ryan Wanger. If you need LEDs for your pinball machine, look no further than to go to CometPinball.com. He'll take care of you. Throws candy in with the orders. He's got some fantastic shirts. PinballMix.com. You want to make a custom soundtrack in your pinball machine, look no further than PinballMix.com. You can also save 10% and get a free Easter egg when using coupon code Buffalo. And last but not least, Titan Pinball. TitanPinball.com for your silicone rings. Just got my ring kit for Bad Girls I still need to put on. Maybe I'll do that within 2021 sometime. But we love Titan Pinball. Also, snag a mat. Everybody should have a Titan Pinball mat. No excuses there. Congrats to them. All right. Kevin, over to you. My stream's messing up. Are we still live?
Yeah, we're still live, but barely. We're hanging in there.
Christ. All right.
The important part is the audio will come through. And
are the pipes and tubes clogged?
I think
there?
so. They're a little jammed up on Saturday morning, I think.
Okay. All right. We'll get the repairman out to unclog them.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's get into some pinball news.
Here's the tip. It's the latest
Kevin,
pinball
kick it off,
news.
man.
So hot,
What's going on?
it's on fire.
Oh, man. It's time for the Pinball Brothers. We haven't talked about this. So you remember Alien Pinball? That's a pinball machine that came out, I don't know, 4 years ago, I want to say. 3 or 4 years ago?
It seems like ages ago. We played it.
Yeah.
We had one on location at a place we not talk about, but we played it. And I actually played a few games before it broke on me.
Yeah, I played it there, and we also went to James's house and played it. He had one for a while. Remember that?
Okay, I missed that stream. So you had a better experience than I did with Alien.
Well, yeah. I mean, it still had issues, but
he got rid of his too.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of rightly when the company when Highway. So if you don't know the backstory on Alien, so Highway Pinball was this company out of England. They were coming out of the gate. They made Full Throttle was their first machine.
Yeah.
And then they came out with this Alien Pin, which for a lot of folks is a dream theme. It's got some cool mechs, TM. I think that's a thing we can trademark now. Like the tongue that comes out from the xenomorph and eats the ball.
It never worked.
Yeah, exactly. The screen in the playfield, which is now gone, spoiler alert. But they came out, they made a few, and then they went under. Andrew Highway, took off and he's making boats now or something. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Hydrofoils, I don't know. But so they went under. Pinball Brothers is the company that bought him out. I don't know the ins and outs of all this, but my understanding is that's how it went. Bottom line is now, a couple years later, they're going to be re-releasing this machine. It's one that I felt was fun. It's fun. It's got an interesting, unusual layout. It's a wide body, but it's got some different shots, different kind of layout. But the biggest concern, and we actually reviewed this game, and when we reviewed it, we did not give it favorable reviews, mostly because it's broken all the time, or it was broken all the time.
We couldn't really even review it, right? Because we tried to review and play, but it just was like basically non-functional. Right.
I got hit a little bit.
correctly.
We got through it when we streamed the game at James's house. We played for 2 hours. I think it mostly played good. There's weird, if you watch the stream, it's on our YouTube channel. There's the lights down by the flippers would like freak out the whole time. So it's like light board issues, and there was something with the left out lane not registering right. So it's got like those the magnetic like sensing ball switches. So there's not physical switches on like the out lanes or anything like that. It's got the ball rolls over that area of the playfield, and it knows that the ball rolled over it. So I think that was having some problems. But what do you think? So your thoughts on, a new version of Alien from a new company? We can talk about the difference. There are some differences in the game. The main difference is, so one of the big innovations from Highway was that they put a screen right in the playfield, which I always thought was pretty cool because you got heads up information. And on Alien, it was pretty cool because it was like the motion tracker, like from the movie. So it was very well integrated theme wise. So I think that's going to be a big negative overall, but apparently there were issues with having the screen under there too, where they were falling out and stuff. So
Jesus.
I don't know. Maybe that just needed some better engineering because my screen on my P3 doesn't fall out, so you can do it. So what do you think overall, Alien coming back out?
Well, I had limited time on the game, but when I did play, I was really impressed with the presentation. David Thiel worked on the music. It was the presentation was well done from my experience. I never really got a good sense of the rules, and I felt that the game played a little clunky. It kind of shots never felt like where I would think they would go. It didn't have a good feel off the bat. Now that can be overcome during time. So again, I don't have enough time on it to really give a reliable view on how it shoots. I don't know, man. It's like Highway knocked it out by making a good theme choice. That's a theme that I think choice that people want. The game always looks nice, right? Like the build quality just from a quick look at it, the art and what's on there looked good. I'd worry about reliability, right? I'd worry about reliability, and I didn't realize, Kevin, that they took some things out of the game too. So I don't know. Here's the deal. I would never give money to this company because I just don't trust it, right? It's a lot of money to throw at a pinball company trying to resurrect a flawed product, right? You're taking a huge risk, and I think, unfortunately, the people who are susceptible to losing out on this are people who this is like a dream theme for them, and then emotion takes over and overrides kind of logic here, and they sort of want an Alien pinball machine, and they want this to work, and they'll disregard maybe some warning flags, and they could be buying problems. I don't know. I'm just speculating at this point. I don't know, man. I'm very skeptical of things like this. I really hope that they can resurrect it, and I hope they can fix problems, and I hope the machine kills it, and everybody who really wants an Alien pinball machine, this is their chance to get it. So I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for this, but personally, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Yeah,
it's it goes back to our old adage of buy pinball machines that exist. Once they've got these in boxes and you've played it, and let somebody else be the guinea pig, the people that are like dying to get it, and it's always a problem with new manufacturers scaling up, building stuff reliably, getting it out on time. We've seen people wait years to get machines, like with Lebowski, and they're still not caught up. So I don't know, I know nothing about Pinball Brothers. They could be amazing and just start cranking out machines, but over the years we've seen, learn the lessons of other pinball manufacturers past, where take your time, don't rush into it, grab one down the line once they've been cranking them out for a while. One thing I didn't mention was the price. So the standard version is $77.77. So $7,777 for some reason. And then the limited version is 500 units at $99.99, so $10,000. So it's in the ballpark of other games. I think from what I remember playing of it, it feels like a premium level game from Stern, if you want to put it in the ballpark of a game as far as mechanics and rules and things like that. So I don't think these prices are totally out of line. But again, it comes down to is this game going to be reliable, and are they going to make it, and not just take your money and run?
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot better if, like you said, like Chicago Coin and Gaming, right? That's their name. If if they were the ones who bought this and they said they're releasing it, then it's like, okay, well, they have a proven track record with Medieval Madness and Monster Bash. But I also think it's not just like replicating a game; it's also fixing things in a game, fixing some inherent flaws in this game. So there's that added step. So again, a new pinball company trying to resurrect a flawed game. Those are two warning signs. So you heard it here. Buffalo Pinball just says exercise extreme caution on this.
Yeah, I think they implemented some design changes too. I think there's a way to better feed the upper flipper so you can hit those upper shots better. They may have put a magnet in there or something. I'm just speculating, but I seem to recall seeing something like that in chat. If you guys know better, you can correct me. But so they did take into account some of the issues, the playfield design issues with the original, and refine that. So that's cool. I'm excited because again, it was a fun game. Theme integration was really cool. They definitely integrated the movie assets and the feel of the movies into this game. So if it's something you want and it ends up being a great game, I hope you really enjoy it. And I don't know that I'll be buying one, but I will happily play somebody else's. How about that? That's my endorsement of Alien. Okay. Next up. Okay, I had to throw this in there because you know him, you love him from past episodes of Brody, even Pinball. David Fix from Pinball Expo and of what games did he play with us? Whirlwind, Doctor Who,
Dialed In. Oh, he did Doctor Who too because we had the Doctor play Doctor.
Yeah, and Centaur 2 when we played it, he was there for that.
Oh wow, he was on Centaur. He was also on. We had him on the podcast in person. Remember? He came over to your house. We talked about Expo.
I don't even remember that.
Him and I sat right next to you.
Dave
Kevin.
Fix was in my house and I don't remember it.
Well, that's your loss.
We have to roll it back and watch that episode. All right. So,
he's probably been one of our most head-on guests, right? We don't even count Mark Nagy anymore because he's practically a bro.
Exactly, yeah. So why are we talking about Dave Fix? He joined American Pinball as Director of Operations and Marketing. So I know you talked to him a little bit about this, and do you know if he's going to be moving out there or what his role is going to be, that sort of thing?
Well, I don't think he knows if he's going to be leaving the area per se. It's certainly not during COVID, right? And in this environment, you can do a lot of things remotely. So hopefully he stays as an asset in Buffalo, so we can have him on the Bro Show and stuff and live and in person. Other than what he's doing, maybe other than what the press release. So I don't have too much intel. I asked him. Kevin asked me to message him this morning and to see if he had any news on any American Pinball news that we can ask him. And he said they've got somebody new starting on Monday, or there's going to be an announcement of somebody new joining the team, and it's not Dennis. The person's going to be working with Dennis Nordman. So that's all I got right now. We'll have him on though for sure when I've already talked to him about being on the Bro Show. So when we get back to doing the Bro Show, he'll be one of the first guests.
Nice. he's got to get us like a Hot Wheels or something to play, right?
He probably has a ton of stories since he's last been on. I can only imagine. We might have to have like a 4-hour Bro Show.
So the other news from American Pinball, which you mentioned, was Dennis Nordman joined as their senior game designer. So I think that's huge for them.
Sure.
Joe Balser has been their designer on the first 3 games, and they've been, Joe is hit or miss in my book as far as playfield layouts, and Dennis Nordman tends to design more flowy games, which I think will resonate more with a wider swath of players. So I think
less risky to do a flow game,
right.
Less interesting in my opinion, but safer bet.
Right.
And that's what you need when you're a new pinball company. You got to go with the safe bets, and then you can get a little riskier, I think.
Agreed. And it's also good to have him on because I heard somewhere Dave said that Joe Balser had an interesting way of working with people. I think I read that on Twip this week in Pinball.
Dave was interviewed on that?
Yeah, it was like a recap of a podcast. He did an interview on it, and he said something like that.
Okay. I've heard about Joe Balser having an interesting work method too.
Yes, me too.
We can't really talk about.
Not only from Dave, yeah, exactly. So
that's
a recurring theme throughout Joe's. But Joe got him off the ground. He designed their first 3 games, and now he's not there anymore. Very similar to the story that he had at JJP. So you designed a couple games and then he's out. So
weird.
You draw your own conclusions.
But it's private.
It is.
Very private.
Very super private. So there you go. New stuff coming from American Pinball. I think having Dennis on board to work with newer designers, because they did say they were going to bring some younger folks in, or newer designers to work with Dennis on making new games. So it's not going to be all Dennis all the time. So that's good. All right. From the Multimorphic front, let's take you over here, and we'll go. That's not it. Over here. They launched a new mini game for the P3 called Shoot and Scoot, which I got wrong.
Shoot, scoot, and boogie.
Yeah,
You can't resist saying shoot, scoot, and boogie.
I kept calling it Scoot and Shoot, but you can really scoot and shoot, or shoot and scoot in whatever order you prefer.
That's the beauty of it, right?
When you play the game. Yeah, exactly. So this is an add-on mini game for any P3 playfield. So no matter what module you have in the back of your game, you can play this on it. And it's cool because so this is a screenshot of the playfield, and you have either, like, this is the dungeon level where you're a knight in an armor running through the level, but there's cars where you drive through the jungle or the city, and you're trying to collect coins, and you collect coins by shooting the shots around the playfield. So you say you need to move all the way to the right to grab a coin. You shoot, like, either the far right orbit or a stand-up target on that side of the playfield. It'll move your character on the screen over there so you can collect it. This is, like, if you want to practice your flipper control skills and your sharpshooting skills, this is a great way to do that. I believe it's $150 on the App Store for Multimorphic, which in pinball terms, that's a drop in the bucket. You know,
That's like a tenth of a Stern Topper.
yeah, you can buy some, I don't know, like a action figure for your playfield, or you can get a whole new game. You know,
Yeah,
so
pretty good.
pretty cool. It's fun. I did a stream on it when it came out. So there's a stream a couple weeks ago with I put the Cosmic Kart Racing playfield in, and I played Cosmic Kart, Ranger in the Ruins, this one, Scoot and Shoot, Rocks, and Barnyard. So 5 different games all on one playfield is pretty cool. Pretty fun as a streamer to be able to swap between games like that all in one night and keep things fresh and interesting. So highly recommend checking that out from Multimorphic. Also, there's one other thing here. So if you're looking to get a Multimorphic game, if you're in the market for a new pinball machine, and you're looking for something soon, Multimorphic is down to about a 4-week lead time on games. I know some of the other folks are further back in the queues. You got to wait a longer time to get your game. So if you're looking for a current game that's in production, Multimorphic, you can grab one in about a month. So that's not too bad.
That's nice. Sounds like they're doing well then.
Yeah, it's good to see the progress that they're having, and I think Heist. I can't say enough cool things about Heist. They had a code update for that, which added a new. So they did a lot of score balancing, but they also added a new incentive in. So when you run a heist and when you do one of the character modes at the end, there's a scoop that pops up, and if you hit that, it collects a thing called a MacGuffin. It's a little, like, token you can get. And if you collect that now, it adds to your bonus through the extent of the game. So think of it like bats and rats on Bram Stoker's Dracula. So ideally, you want to grab as many of those as you can early in the game, and you can really boost your score. So it's cool to see some more scoring strategy being built into the game like that too.
Well, I think it's cool of you that you invested in one, because we do have a platform to really showcase games. And a thing like P3, a lot of people won't get the chance to experience, and I think it's something that you have got to experience in person. So good on you for doing that and doing a lot of streaming and sharing it. So we've got a lot of content on our YouTube channel that I encourage people listening to this podcast to check it out. I can't wait to play it. I know you speak highly of it, so I really admire what Jerry's doing with the P3 and just kind of taking pinball to the next level. It's awesome. So yeah, good on you, Kev. Good job.
Yeah, and
you're doing the Lord's work.
It's great for us too, because, like, we get to show new stuff all the time, and I don't have to keep hauling games in and out all the time. So it's great for both of us, I think. Bookie just got his GnR LE, nice. And Chris is trolling about Led Zeppelin. Chris. All right, let's talk about JJP a little bit. So they've been cranking out. This is one other thing from Multimorphic before we move on. So they introduced new slingshot and side target artwork. So if you want to customize your pinball, the lower part of your pinball machine a little bit more, they do this a lot. lets
Nice.
you pick and choose ways to customize the game. So you can swap out the art on the side. It's magnetic. You can change the apron art when you change your games in there. Now you can change art that goes along the sides above the side targets and the slingshot. So I have this on order. I'm getting it for Heist and Cosmic Heart. Looks really cool. I think it'll be a nice way to kind of customize your game a little bit more. Each kit is $40. So $10 of plastic, that's pretty reasonable in my book, especially again in pinball terms. You're talking good value there. Nice way to kind of mod your machine and spruce it up and make it look good. And it's all this cool hand drawn art that they've been doing lately, so it looks really nice. So that's Multimorphic. All right, on to the Jersey Jack pinball update. They're shipping out Guns N' Roses CE, the collector's edition. So if you've been waiting, if you're a day one buyer of a GnR CE, congratulations, they're starting to hit your homes. And it's looking amazing. I've seen some pictures of ones. I was watching a stream of one yesterday. Looks really cool. It's got the cool like art in the playfield with the sparkle on it, like the Wizard of Oz Yellow Brick Road edition. Side blades. It's got the coma lock and the apron. What else? It's signed by the band members. Not just by the designers. Yeah, so all the band members signed it. I mean, and it's got the Appetite for Destruction theme. So if you're a Guns N' Roses super fan, this is the one you want. This is it. Or if you're just a fan of really awesome looking pinball machines, it looks cool. So that's that.
Is also, that, Kev, can I ask you, is that your, since you've got, all the JJP games other than Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
What's your top two? What's your first favorite and second favorite?
Man, it's such a hard question because they're all so different, right?
Well, it probably changes over time.
Yeah,
but
what I'm playing most right now is Guns N' Roses and Wonka, right?
If you can only, all right, let's play this game. If you can only have one, all right, somebody you have to, for whatever reason, you can only have one right now. What would it be?
I mean, it'd be Pirates because I can get the other ones eventually down the line.
That's a bullshit. No. That's like, all right, we got to play this thought experiment. You can only have one. You can't get the other ones back ever. You're just stuck with one for the rest of your life. What do you pick?
I guess Pirates. I don't know.
Nick Sertun is yelling at you. He's got all caps. He's got the Goren keyboard problem.
Yeah. People love asking these hypothetical questions.
It's fun though. It's fun. I'm one of those people that like asking that. I do that with Martha about things, and she gets upset. So
yeah, there's never like people always come in chat and they're like, "Oh, what's your favorite one?" And I'm like, "Well, I could like them all." Well, that's not fair. You got to pick one. It's like, no, I don't. I could just play them all because I have them all.
No. All right. Well, I appreciate you humoring me and picking one. So thank you. For doing that.
I haven't been playing Pirates though, so it's hard.
Well, understand. I mean, you've played the shit out of Pirates.
So I'm playing
for several years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, but I wouldn't get rid of that one. So, Goren keyboard problem. Goren's keyboard, his keyboard stuck in caps all the time. Weird. Oh, and happy birthday, Eric Minier. It's his birthday today, so happy birthday to him. Thank you for making amazing games. We love them. Okay, Stern update. I picked a great Stern update for everybody. They are increasing the price of Batman 66 and Elvira House of Horrors by $500 each.
Interesting.
Which is weird.
Do they say why? I mean, like, I guess normally when there's a price increase, they don't say why, but
the news release was pretty sparse from what I remember. Let me look it up.
That's a weird thing.
Elvira. And
just those games too. I mean, those games already have. There's already a premium price on those games, which is odd, right? Like they're already like these. I don't know if they have a special term for these kind of games, but they're not their standard pricing for games. You're already paying a premium for these.
All right, I have the official message from Stern here. Would you like to hear it?
I guess I'll use your judgment.
Price increase Batman. It's short. So Batman 66 and Elvira. Order now for these limited runs at the new Stern prices. So these are not games they have in hand. They are new runs of the games.
Oh, so maybe it's an incentive to because they're trying to they're using some of the line to do a new run and like to buy parts. I guess that would make sense, right? Like they'd probably have to charge a premium because it's probably such a small run of them.
Yeah. So here's what they say: since we began production of Batman 66 in 2016 and Elvira in 2019, material and labor costs have increased. Cost increases affect these models more than our cornerstone games because of smaller volume purchases and shorter production runs, which do not result in production efficiencies. Our manufacturing costs are further increased by the complexity of these games. Okay.
That's fine. No, honestly, I like that they put that out there.
Mhm.
Like, just give us. You don't have to give us a reason, but I think it helps give a reason to. And like that was my guess. It makes sense. I think, especially with the pandemic, there's a real struggle and challenge to get parts for production of anything.
Yeah. Well,
So
two things. I don't think these games are necessarily more complicated to build than, say,
no, but it's a
Jurassic
shorter run.
Park.
They're shorter run of them, so you make less of something, your profit margin's going to go down.
Yeah. Pixel Picker makes a good point that I forgot about too. Is like people had orders in at the old price, and then they increased the price on them after they had their orders in, which is not cool.
Well, Berg Bookie said Chinese tariffs, so tariffs went up too. I saw people talking about like the new video cards came out that were like $700, now they're 1,000.
Oh, really? I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, so yeah, that's also that's a problem too. There's a number of things going on.
The other thing too is Skip had a Batman premium, and he had to sell it for less than he bought it for. Like nobody wanted it. So
That's interesting.
I wonder if the demand's there for Batman.
Yeah.
It might be there for Elvira, but I guess they'll find out. I don't know if they're doing like pre-order runs on this or what, but
Well, the as Chrome Candy pointed out, you might. I'm sorry if I missed you saying this, because I was reading the chat. People who had already ordered at the old price, they weren't locked in. People went back and told them you still got to pay $500 more, which is messed up.
yeah.
I mean, they should have honored the price. Like, if you ordered it at the old price before CERN changed it, you still didn't get your game. You don't jack it up then. Like that's it. So that would leave a bad taste in my mouth. Imagine you ordered that game, and you locked in the price, and then your distributor had to call you and say, actually, the CERN just changed the price $500 more. Fuck that shit.
I'd be like, cancel
Seriously
my order.
though, like
Yeah.
what kind of extortion is that? That's BS.
Yeah. So, oh, you really want it, huh? Oh, here, $500.
That's when they do stuff like CERN's like notorious for just like making what I would say decisions that upset their customers. Like they should have honored if locked in. You change the price, then going forward, that's the new price. That's fine. That's understandable. Whatever. You do what you want, but like it's too bad. Who doesn't get upset when that happens?
Yeah. Oh, you ordered an Xbox. Oh, now it's $250 more. Sorry. We didn't plan out the production well. Yeah, so DOS Reboot says he had a quote that got increased on Elvira House of Horrors.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Well, you know who would take your money, Das Boot? Jersey Jack. Jersey Jack won't screw you over like that. Call them. Get a better game. If you're going to be paying those premium prices for Elvira House of Horrors or Batman, you might as well just get a Jersey Jack game.
There you go. All right, so Scorebit. Let's talk a little bit about Scorebit. Nick was asking me about it the other day. He's like, what is this? What do you know about it? I was like, we could talk about it on the show. So here we are. We're going to talk about Scorebit.
Thank you, Kevin.
Let me pull up their website, because there's a lot going on. I want to get to like the pricing. But
Yeah, the prices seem crazy.
yeah,
for
basically it's
what it is.
so it started out as a way to capture scores on older pinball machines, particularly for streams and tournaments. So I could see this being super valuable. Say you're running a tournament, right? And scorekeepers have to run with their iPads and put your score in manually. There's room for error there. If the machines could read the score and report it when they're done automatically and enter it as your score, that'd be great, right? It removes that level of human error and automates things a little bit more for the tournament directors. So awesome. Also, if you're running a tournament stream and you've got cameras all over the place and you want to capture just the score, you can do that and integrate right into the stream. Very cool stuff. So I could see it being great in those instances. But they're also pitching it for home use, which I don't see as I don't know. It hasn't. So it's in Guns N' Roses. So they've evolved over time, and now that like games like Guns N' Roses ship with internet connectivity built in, they've added it right into the software here. There's no additional hardware. It was a free upgrade for Guns N' Roses users. And so I downloaded the app, connected it. You can like add your location and your machine, and then you can log your score, which I'm like, okay, cool. Like I already have Pindigo that I can do that on without having to buy a $300 piece of hardware and a $5 monthly fee if it's not a game like GnR that it's built into. I don't see the benefit of it for the home user, they're talking about ways you can integrate it for streams, where you can put the score on your screen or show like what modes are qualified and things like that. I'm like, that's all information that is already being captured on the back box display or the back smaller screen on JJP. So like, I don't see it. I don't see the benefit, especially for the cost, right? Like, I'm not going to spend another $300 plus have a monthly fee ongoing as long as I want to use this to.
Damn, yeah, that's the other thing. I was looking at the pricing and I saw the pricing. I was like, whoa, like that. Initially, it's like, oh, this could potentially be cool. Then I looked at the pricing and then I looked at the monthly fee. I was just like, yeah, I see no practicality because they even have like features for like operators, but it's just not worth it, man. I don't see a use case in any of my scenarios.
Yeah, so from your perspective as an operator, would it be beneficial to you to be able to see this reporting remotely that this provides versus just like checking on your machines once a month or something like that?
Well, I'll break it. I'll answer this question in two parts. Is that a cool functionality? Sure, right? But then you got to add in the cost associated to get that functionality, and it's just not necessary. So if the cost was like nominal, then I'd say, yeah, great, let's see that. Does that really change the business or help me that much that I need to pay that and I get a return on my investment? I don't think so whatsoever.
Yeah. So yeah, because
the profit margins are so low in operating, like you know, it's crazy that just don't want to spend that money as an operator. Like,
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
sense.
Like you're barely making money running pinball machines, anyways. It's hard to justify additional costs on top of that.
Correct.
I mean, Goren.
The cool idea,
Yeah.
cool. I give them credit, like for the ingenuity and what they're able to pull off, especially in the older games. Like tons of credit. I like what they're doing, but when I think of the cost benefit, it doesn't make sense in my mind, from my perspective.
Yeah. So the price for one Scorbitron, that's the hardware. Plus it's $299.99, so $300 plus $4 a month, or $40 a year.
Yeah.
The cost goes down a little bit the more you go if you buy in quantity. So if you buy 2 to 10 games, it's $269 plus $7 a year, or $7 a month, $70 a year, just under that, and it goes. So the cheapest you can get it, if you buy for 26 plus games, it's $200 per unit plus $20 a month. So. I could see like Carl doing this at Indisc, for example.
Sure.
Or if Papa were still around and they wanted to do that and like take Pinburg production to the next level. But as we learned, they were barely making money or losing money as it was. So even the biggest events out there are going to find it hard to justify buying units like this and also paying a monthly fee on it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, like I said, when we talked about Pinburg last time, we need somebody who is in this hobby, is into tournaments, to step in and do a business around it, really create like a business around tournaments around the country and have one big like Pinburg style tournament, but charge what's appropriate to make a profit on it and continue and pay people. Because I've always said about Pinburg, you know, it's like, you know, $100 to get into Pinburg and then 100 replay. $200 is nothing for the experience that you get at Pinburg, you know, and $200 is nothing for people in this hobby, because people in this hobby have money. And that experience is worth easily $500.
Yeah,
for me, people would pay that, especially when you have the demand. Yeah, it would knock some people out. And there's some people I would never pay $500 for that, but there's more than enough people to do it and keep it going. So waiting for that person to show themselves. I'm not a millionaire who, if I had all the money and I didn't have to work, I would do that. I would find a way to make a business out of that.
Yeah. So just some comments in chat. You know, Goren saying it's free. For free, it's nice. GnR doesn't cost you anything, not even a monthly fee. Agreed. Mentioned that a few times already. But
are you using Scorebit on your GnR? But you have to pay a monthly fee, right?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't. So,
but
okay.
Here, I downloaded it. I installed the app. I set up my game, and I've never touched it since. I've had no reason to. I've no compelling reason to connect this or hook it up or report my scores on there. I just don't see the need.
Well, it's also bullshit because your game plays different than everybody else's game, right? Like if you get a score of, I don't know how it's scoring on Guns N' Roses, but you get a score of 5 million. Somebody gets a score on 10 million on their machine. That's absolutely meaningless to me.
Mm-hmm.
It means nothing. Every machine plays different. They can have different settings. They could cheat, whatever. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, you could have your game set to 10 ball and your out lanes closed, and like you never know.
Or even if it's the same, the pitch could be different.
Mm-hmm.
right? It could just be a slow game, like whatever. Yeah, you could change the posts.
Yeah.
The game, even if the software is so sophisticated on Scorebit or whatever that it knows when you change to 5-ball or something, it doesn't know when you move a post around and make it easier. It doesn't know that stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
there you go. So it's there. Use it if you want. I don't see the use case behind it. But again, like if that would make more sense on a location. If we're all going to the same spot, playing the same machine, and we want to compare scores on there. But again, there's leaderboards built into the games already. I can compare scores with people at that location on the machine. It's been there for years. So I want to get the grand champ on the game if I want to be number one. I don't necessarily want to have it in the app.
Chris the Pincer says Nashville going to be a huge hub for pinball in the future market. Okay, I'll mark it. Listen, somebody, here's an entrepreneur. Somebody come up to Buffalo. There's so many old warehouses in space that you can live up cheaply and do it here. I mean, we're just saying, come to Buffalo. We're looking good. Kevin will sell you the ads on Buffalo Living.
That's right.
Make it here.
I don't have
it's also good for
but
Canadians to cross the border. So there you go.
If you want to get beat down by Canadians in pinball tournaments, come on out. Come on
That's
up
right.
to Buffalo.
That's right.
When the border opens again, you can experience that for yourself. Okay, so last thing in news and updates, David Thiel posted a very interesting thing on Facebook before the end of the year, right around the holidays. He says, February will mark a 15th anniversary for my consultancy. It has been a while since a machine was being manufactured that has audio by DDT. 2021 promises to be different. Without going into details, there will be 4 pins that I've provided the audio package for from 4 different pinball manufacturers. Stay safe, don't overeat, and keep playing pinball. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of speculate and figure out which 4 games will be from David Thiel. So my guess, one is going to be Raza if that actually gets released, because he did the sound on that. Retro Atomic Zombie Adventureland from Deep Root Pinball. He did the sound on Alien, so if that's getting rerun, that'll be 2. What are the other 2?
I have no idea. Hey.
Did he? So, Spooky and Chicago Gaming are making one together. I don't know if he's done any work with Chicago Gaming before.
Gonna do any more? Is he done with JJP, or is he essentially doing work with them?
Maybe he's going back to JJP. He did do sound on Lexi Lightspeed for Multimorphic.
So everyone's saying that the next JJP will be Toy Story. I mean, they've been saying this for 4 years now.
Right.
Maybe that, like, Lawler and Toy Story is the rumor. So maybe he did it on that, because especially if that game was in production or being made for so long, then that's a possibility.
Yeah. Oh, and if they're tightening up their timelines at Jersey Jack, if they want to start cranking out more games, they're going to need more people to serve on different teams. So I know they've had Vikas working on. He did Guns N' Roses and Wonka. So if they're going to speed that up, they're probably going to need another sound person. So maybe they'll start doing contracting some of that out to folks like David Thiel. But I think Multimorphic is a good possibility too. They have a history of a working relationship, and so I'd love to see him come back and do something with them as well. So maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part for the next Multimorphic game, but hopefully.
Yeah. We love David Thiel.
Yeah.
I love his work. Audio is incredibly important for me in a pinball machine. It's something I can easily recognize when it's well done. Like Pirates is fantastic. And if you guys are listening to this podcast and you didn't listen to it's a 3-hour interview, I think, with David Thiel, and he went through like his career on games. People have told us that was just a really good podcast and they really enjoyed it. So I highly recommend going back and listening to that. Break it in chunks if you need to, but he was a great guest to have on, and really interesting stuff from him.
Yeah, he told some great stories that I think all of our listeners and viewers will appreciate.
Yeah, he was very open, right? And it's kind of a refreshing thing. So it's nice, and he's got a lot of energy. So God bless him.
If you've ever wondered why certain sound packages turned out the way they did,
yeah, exactly.
He talked about them. X-Men, stuff like that. Just go back, check it out. Okay. All right, that's it for news and updates. Let's give some game room updates, and I'll kick it off with if I switch over here, you can see it kind of over there. It's my brand new Willy Wonka pinball machine. I was able to sell my Jurassic Park because that's a game.
Why'd you sell that, Kevin? Why'd you sell Jurassic Park?
Because Stern is dumb. That's why. Stern and their dumb end user license agreements and asking permission to get stream, which they've now changed to that we can't give you permission to stream. I'm like, it's just like decision after decision with them. You know, I'm fed up, and I'm like, I'm not going to promote a product you're currently selling if this is how you're going to. Gary Stern's gone on podcasts and called his customers criminals who make mods and stuff. I'm done. I love Jersey Jack. I love Multimorphic. I'll play Bally Williams games. There's plenty of other ways I can spend my time. I still think Jurassic Park is an amazing game. It's a very good game. Keith Elwin's a great designer, but I'm over it. So
you were pissed off.
Yeah, I was like, get this game out of here. I don't want to play it.
Are you saying you wouldn't buy another Stern?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Really? You're done with Stern?
Yeah.
Period. Period.
I don't see like
it can make a bad religion pinball machine that's like amazing.
Yeah, I'm over it.
Wouldn't get it.
Yeah, probably not.
Even if you loved, even if it was like the greatest pinball machine of all time, you hate Stern that much now.
Maybe I get it once they stop selling it. You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Kevin's upset. You think I get upset about things? Kevin's. This is like Kevin at peak anger.
Like I'm not selling my Tron because
you love Jurassic Park too.
Yeah, it was a great game.
And you were pissed out. Like you went into rage mode and just like so much that you're like out of here.
Yeah. So I'm not selling Tron because they're not selling it right. They're like it doesn't matter to them if I keep it or sell it, right?
Sure.
So,
we talked about talking about EULA, and we sort of. I mean, it's not. There's a lot that's been said about it. We didn't want to make a whole segment, but you know, Stern does these kind of things that it's like, it's just not. It's the way they convey the news or the info. Sometimes it just doesn't come out the best way. Like Kevin's in PR. You do communication and PR for a living, and it's not necessarily what Stern is saying in the EULA. It's just the way it comes out, and it comes out in the worst way. And it just upsets a lot of people. They do this time and time again. And you know, look, Stern is not a huge Fortune 500 company, so they're gonna make some mistakes. But it's just too bad. I think that they do themselves a disservice sometimes because they're not careful enough of how they communicate them.
Right. You know, how many times have we heard that people have bought games after we've streamed them or reviewed them or whatever? All the time.
Well, all the time. I bought like a Walking Dead because of you, Nick. All the time, you know, because it's like one of my favorite games of all time. All the time, people tell us that. Yeah. I know that we influence what people purchase, and I think you and I take that very seriously in terms of how we talk about games. A certain degree of responsibility because we're here to help people, right? Like I want to hype the shit out of games that I think are just amazing and people should either play or have, and then also help people avoid games that are going to disappoint them, even though we have our particular taste.
Right, exactly. So it is what it is. And so let's talk about Wonka a little bit. This is the game. Obviously, we went out, did the reveal. It was huge. It was good times. Got to hang out with Pat Lawler and the crew out there. It didn't click with me when we streamed it. And like a lot of Jersey Jack games, you need to put time on it. And I say I really love the game. It's amazing. It's really well done. Pat Lawler can design a playfield that shoots like butter. The rules are really cool. I will say I don't think it does a great job communicating to the player what you need to do right away. It takes some time to figure it out. It's not as apparent as something like Guns N' Roses where I have to collect my band members, start a song, and then cash out this huge value in this song, right? That's the structure of the game is much more easily understood in Guns N' Roses. Wonka, once you play it, you start to figure out what's in there. And then I went to, and I'm going to put this on YouTube. Skip Natty played actually the game that I now own the week before I got it and did a rules explanation. And then, so once you play the game a little bit and you kind of understand the things that are in there, and then once somebody kind of talks you through the rules, it's like, all right, now it starts to make sense. Here's where the points are. Here's how to kind of put it all together and see the more interesting stuff deeper in the game. But what's cool, it just kind of lays a bunch of stuff on the table that you can go out and do in whatever order you want, which I think is great for a home game. It reminds me of more like Pirates in that way, where you can, there's all these different ways you can approach it, but in the end, there's big goals you want to go for at the end. So,
who did the rules on that?
I think Joe Katz was the lead.
Joe Katz, okay.
So yeah, he's done a lot of great stuff with them, and I love his video game sensibilities coming into pinball because he's a big video game player too. So that's my first impressions on Wonka. I'm still in the honeymoon phase. Obviously, I've only had it for like 2 weeks almost. Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks today. But I'm loving it. It's, when I come out to play, it's the game I'm playing right now. So go Wonka.
Chrome Candy's asking when Goren's Topper bit is coming up. It's coming at the end. You got to stick around to the end.
we know what the people want. We got to keep you hanging out for the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. That's Wonka. I did. Here's a little Topper talk for everybody at home, and it's because I modded the Topper on my Addams Family with a new mod from Evan Bookbinder, friend of the show. He did Addams Family Topper mod, and you can get it either in blue and purple. I went in purple because I wanted to go all out and really perp it up. And it adds some like cool lighting effects to make the dome glow.
I don't think the adjective is perp it up.
Perp it up.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
That's what you do. And some high intensity flashers for the back box Topper. So when you start the multi-ball, it goes crazy. And now with my new Topper streaming rig that I set up the other day, I'll stream Addams Family with the Topper cam one of these days, so you guys can check it out. It's pretty cool. I don't think he's got a website set up right now, but you can check out Evan on Facebook. That's how I connected with him to get the mod. If you're interested, it's cool. Highly recommended if you want to bling out your Addams a little bit. And the other thing I did was, so you can see Big Buck Hunter behind me. I turned it on one day and it wasn't working. So that was sad. So I had to do some troubleshooting on it. It's got a standard VGA connection on it, so I brought a monitor down, hooked it up, wasn't getting any signal. It's got a standard Dell PC in it, so I pulled it out, reseated all the RAM and the hard drive connections, because when I got it, I upgraded some of that stuff. Plugged it back in, and it booted up, which was good. But I was getting some file system errors, so I had to reinstall the software from scratch. But thankfully, Big Buck is up and running. I can shoot virtual deer again in the pandemic. It's all good. So
yeah, but let me ask you this: how do you feel about Big Buck Hunter after owning it for a while? Is it lost kind of its kind of appeal, or was it a novelty that's passed, or is it like something that's good to have in someone's game room?
Yeah, I don't play my stand-up video games a lot out here, but I like having that one as a gun game. I think it's got more longevity than something like the Area 51 that I had. Yeah, because you can just like, all right, I'll try to blast through and beat my scores from last time versus just like credit feeding it to try to get to the end of the game. Okay. So I like it from that perspective. I also submitted it for there's this thing called Nintendo on Twitch, where this streamer called Goaty puts together a marathon and he wants to see weird games. So I submitted Big Buck Hunter as a game that I could play on stream for that. So hopefully we'll do some Big Buck Hunter for the masses on there. It'd be really cool. So still a fun game. Really, really have fun with it. But yeah, I don't play it all the time. But every time I play it, it's fun. It's more fun with somebody as player two, doing a little competitive action too.
Yeah, Chrome Candy says BBH HD with the online features is a lot of fun. Some of us on Pinslider competing with each other in a weekly tournament. That sounds cool. Yeah, that sounds cool.
I think there's another, like, they may have ongoing fees for that though too. It's more nonsense, which I don't know that I'd pay for.
Well, it's not designed for the home. You know what I mean? Like that's you're using it to the point where it doesn't make sense.
Right. So that's my game room updates. Nick has some game room updates too.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm really pumped because I got my Pirates of the Caribbean fixed. There was an up post kicker problem, and not that was the most complicated thing. It's just that I can't raise my playfields up to work on it, so I can't really even see what's going on. That playfield's really heavy. So Eric Minier was in my lunchtime. Oh, I should mention too that info. So I'm doing Fridays at noon on our channel. I've made it a thing because I've been doing kind of a lunchtime pinball streaming here and there, and I've officially dedicated myself to doing it on Fridays, at least during the pandemic. I think even when we go back to work, we're going to be able to work some days from home, and I'm going to request Fridays and try to keep that going because I like doing a solo stream then. Anyways, Eric, who is the designer of Pirates, Jersey Jack, was in the stream, and I was talking to him about it, and he's like, I'll help you out with this. So after the stream, he walked me through. It was really simple. Martha and I were able to tackle it, and I've not played that game since the summer when I did the battle with Eric, because I just can't bring myself to play a game that has an issue with it, because they sort of like if I have a great game, like it invalidates that score because it's not working right. It's like there's an asterisk in my mind, and I'm like a purist, so I love Pirates. You guys know that. I'm sorry when I'm obnoxious every time I say how awesome that game is. I really hope they rerun that game because so many people I think know how awesome it is. It's one of those things that you know, Kevin, how sometimes things are released and they come out and they're not valued as much as they should. Like a movie comes out or whatever, and it might be ahead of its time in some ways. It's so different or it's so progressive that not everybody realizes how amazing it is until years later. I feel like that's how Pirates is.
Yeah.
And I really hope they release it again, because I think it will do well. Anyways, really happy to have that back up and running. So that's one update. And I told Kevin, and I think I've been talking on my stream, my basement's full. I have the challenge of getting games in the basement, walking downstairs. I always said when I moved into a house, I didn't want a basement, but I moved in with Martha, I don't know, what, 6 years ago now. It is what it is. So my pinball acquisition has kind of come to a halt because I don't want to sell games. It's just really complicated. So my dream is to build like Kevin's kind of an inspiration here. He built a garage shed game room, and that's exactly what I want to do. So I'm saving my pennies, right? So hopefully in 3 to 5 years I can build one, which means I'm not going to be buying a lot of pinball machines. I could get new pinball machines. I just have to sell one, right? So if an amazing game came out, something would go on the chopping block and I would get it. But I don't want to be in that position because I like all my games. I just want to acquire more of them. Martha's a collector as well, so that's my goal, man, to build a shed garage where I can just get games in easily without the hassle. I can increase my collection, get more classics and stuff, and get back into that acquisition phase of pinball. So that excites me right now. I really want to make that happen. Don't know how soon it will happen, but when it does, I'll document kind of the building of it and the plans and stuff. That will be kind of a feature on our YouTube. And I also did Kevin did an awesome game room video back in the fall, and it was an update to videos that we did 4 years ago. So in January 2017, I did a game room video because I know people are really interested to see our collections, and it always does really well on our channel. And look, I don't have the best game room video out there collection. There's some truly amazing collection and spaces out there, but I'm happy to kind of share where I'm at and what I did, and it's kind of like a nice moment in time capture for me in my history of collecting games. So I did an update to my January 2017 video. You can see it on YouTube. I kind of do the same walkthrough. You can see some changes. It's like 14 minutes, so it's not long, and it'd be fun to do that 4 years from now again. And hopefully I've got that exterior shot and stuff like that, and it just grows over time. So check that out. Check that out if you want to see an update. Check out Kevin's too. Kevin's was really well done too. And then last but not least, I've been playing a lot of VR hype. So I've got another podcast, a VR gaming podcast, and I have a Discord for that. And Goren has been the Pied Piper in getting other people in pinball to come over to that Discord and to get headsets. I think a lot of people got a Oculus Quest 2, which is only $299, and you don't need a PC. And it's a very, very good VR system, like entry VR system. So we've got like in this Discord, there's a lot of people who are content creators in pinball happen to be in there. And if you want to invite, just message me at buffalopinball@gmail.com or vrgamingpodcast@gmail.com, and I'll send you a Discord link to get in there. But we've been having a lot of fun playing, of all things, like VR mini golf and VR poker. I've been streaming. You can see some streams of that. We've been doing mini golf tournaments every 2 weeks. We'll do one next week. If you would not want in on that, you can join us. There are these casual free tournaments. You can go see videos of that on my channel, twitch.tv, VR_gaming_podcast. Really simple to find, right? So check that out. Yeah, do you think we can ever convince you to get Oculus Quest for $299 and you can join us?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm really curious. It's a serious question. What's the hesitation? Because here's the thing to know about Kevin. Kevin, like you like buy like every video game system. Like you are total gamer. Like it comes out, you buy. You had a PSVR and you bought it like the day you had VR before I did.
Yep.
So what's the hesitation there?
Well, now that I've had it, I either don't find myself playing it much, or when I do, I get sick, or I get a headache, and I just don't feel like it's something I want to do. So right. I know you've said the more you play, the more you get over that, but I've played it a significant amount, and it still happens to me. So
here's my pitch and what I would say. That's a legit good reason. So you're playing VR technology from 2016, and that's like when all the headsets first came out that were kind of commercial VR that sort of was good, right? Was playable. And like what I really respect about the PlayStation is that they came out with VR and they had a headset from the get-go, where Xbox didn't. They let me down there. Things have come, technology is developing really rapidly. Things have come a long way to like the Quest 2. I think the Quest 2 is a way easier experience. You can play it anywhere. You don't need to have cords and cables attached. The controllers are way better. And there's plenty of games that shouldn't give you motion sickness because you don't need to kind of do that movement. And that's what's giving you that motion sickness. So potential motion sickness. So I think you'd have I think it'd be a better experience. Here's what I would say to you. Ready?
Here we go.
Here's the kind of like here it is. This is to Kevin and everybody else on the fence. Order a Quest 2 from Amazon. Okay? Grab a couple games. I can make some recommendations on games that you'll be blown away. Like Super Hot's a fantastic game if you're just getting to VR. Space Pirate Trail is fantastic. Walkabout Mini Golf, things like that. Don't like it, get sick or whatever, you got 30 days to send it back. You can't and get your money back. You can't lose. Even Oculus games that you buy, you can play them for 2 hours and then return them within that 2-hour window and get your money back, no questions asked. So if you don't like a game or it's garbage or it makes you sick, you turn it back. There's nothing to lose. Nothing to lose proposition. There you go. The only thing, as somebody pointed out with the Oculus Quest 2, there's a catch. You got to be on Facebook.
Okay.
You have to have your Facebook account linked to it. But,
yep.
I mean, most people are on Facebook, so you can live with that.
The other reason is I have a PlayStation 5 that I'm playing all the time. We play Call of Duty every night. So my gaming time is pretty full right now. I also have we got the Series X for Christmas, so I've got enough to keep me busy. So I'm not lacking for stuff to do. But maybe someday down the line I'll get the bug again. But I'm not feeling very compelled to jump on and get another headset right now.
I've either, this is admirable or embarrassing, I've put in 600 hours into Hunt Showdown since August. And that's a PC non-VR game. But I like switching it up and putting on the VR headset because there's no game that I can play multiplayer, and especially during the pandemic and connecting with people is important. There's nothing that gives you the experience of being able to like use motion controls and see other people in the game and to have more of a presence with them. But there you go. I did my pitch. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin always humored me. He knows it's coming. I just want to play games with my friend in VR because I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
Martha, believe it or not, is getting an Oculus Quest on Tuesday. We're gonna go pick it up from Best Buy.
Can you stream that, please? Martha.
Yeah. I've been streaming. So she'll play mini golf with us, and she'll play poker. Those have been like the huge hits, believe it or not, in VR.
I want the room cam of Martha like running into the walls and stuff though.
Yeah, I probably won't have the room cam of that necessarily.
That's what it's all about.
And yeah,
I remember her playing that cat game at my house on the PSVR and like crawling around on the floor and stuff. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
So that's my game room updates. I actually had a couple things.
Look at you. You fixed something too. I'm very proud of you, Nick.
Martha helped me.
Good job, Martha.
Yeah.
I know she's watching. She says she doesn't watch, but she's lurking because anytime
Martha threw up in VR.
What?
When I first had it like 3 years ago, she was doing here's some good Martha story. I think I told her before because she'll love that. She was doing Google Earth VR is really cool, by the way, if you haven't done that, because like you know how like Google Earth you can go anywhere and see, like they've mapped out all of this stuff. You can even like fly over like your neighborhood. It's awesome. So some people get motion sick in VR and you can overcome it over time. But the trick is, as soon as you start feeling a little queasy, you need to immediately get out, right? Like, you need to immediately get out and you'll be fine. Martha's like, oh, I don't feel too great. I was like, get out. But she didn't. She was having such a good time in there. She spent another 5 or 10 minutes and then puked. So there you go. Learn from Martha.
There's your sales pitch for VR, kids. All right. We have, I don't remember the last time we did a review. It may have been Jurassic Park or Mustang may have been the last one we did, but it's been a while. So let's play the review intro here, and then we'll get into our review of Judge Dredd from Bally.
Let's go!
I am okay. Looks life is a bore. The least I've gotten waiting for. Are you ready for your eye exam?
show time. It is Judge Dredd from Bally, released in 1993, designed by John Trudeau, total jerk. Art by Kevin O'Connor, software by Jeff Johnson, sound by Paul Heisch and Vince Pontarelli, and I didn't realize this till I looked it up. Call us by Tim Kitzrow. Wait, I got him. Where's my sound effects? Here we go.
Kaboom!
There you go. There's Tim Kitzrow. Pricing on this game. So Nick and I talked about bang for the buck games to feature on this segment. So we picked Judge Dredd, Doctor Who, or Fishtails for our channel subscribers to pick. And Judge Dredd won out by 1 vote when I checked this morning. So that was the winner. So when I bought this game back in 2013, I paid $1,600 for it. Nowadays, according to Pinside, pricing is $2,680 to $3,120. So
that's how much I bought it for in 2011. My third game ever.
$1,100?
1,200, very close.
1,200. Okay, yeah. So that's the other thing. Nick and I have both owned this game, so we can speak very, very from firsthand experience on this game, which is cool. I actually owned this game twice. I had sold it, and then another one came up for a very good deal, but like a year later, and I got it for $1,500. So it was an even nicer one that I got for less. But I ended up trading that towards my Addams Family, which I still have today. So this is Judge Dredd. Let's get into the cabinet art. So
RLM, well, I just want to address one thing. RLM in chat says, newsflash, there are no bang for your buck games anymore. The pandemic has taken prices to crazy land. Well, I disagree. I disagree about. Can we talk about that for a sec?
What? Go ahead.
Off the rails. Hijacking the interview. I still see it's bang for buck. First of all, what I paid in 2011, I mean, you got to factor in inflation, and there's just more demand for pinball machines. So all games have gone up, right? And these games, and like I bought it in 2011. I had it for a few months, and I sold it, I think, for $1,500. So if you buy it today, you should, and you pay the right price, you're still going to get your money back. I would still say this is a pretty good bang for your buck game. So we can move on. I wanted to keep that short, unless you want to add to that.
I mean, the relative value of everything has gone up, but they hold their value too, right? So, and time passes, there's time value of money, inflation, all that stuff. So everything factored in, you still get a lot of game for 2021 pricing on these games, even at like $3,000 for a Dredd. There's mechs and gameplay in there that you're going to get a lot out of, even though it may not be on the same level as a brand new Stern or JJP game. All right, so let's get back into the picture. So the categories we're going to cover are art, sound, toys, display and lighting, gameplay, rules, and lastability, like we always do. So let's kick it off with art. Like I said, art by Kevin O'Connor. I think the art is very well done. So if you think of 90s and you think Judge Dredd, you might be thinking the Sylvester Stallone movie, but it's not based on that. It's based on the comics, which is always go with the comic version. Don't go with the movie version. And they did it right. The art is really well done. What's funny is I see like alternative art packages for this game, and I'm like, why? Because the art is really good. I mean, it's cool, but I would not replace the art on this. Unless, as you can see in this picture that I have up, the cabinet does tend to fade. So if the cabinet fades and you want to upgrade, because that's supposed to be red or orangey letters on the front of the game, and the red and orange fades out as a lot of these 90s Bally Williams games did. So, but the style and the execution of the art is very well done. We can look at it on the play field here too. Again, very cool, awesome comic art throughout this game. I think it's great.
I do too. Really good art. I mean, you can't help but think of maybe Demo Man, because it also falls in the kind of price range when it came out, and also Sylvester Stallone, and Demo Man was based on that movie. Demo Man does not have great art. It's very basic. It's like Terminator 2-esque the way they approach this art, but the art on this is fantastic. And I believe when this game was released, the flyer or the game came with like a comic book too.
Yeah, the promo flyer of it is comic. It's a fold out comic book spread, which is cool. Yeah,
I don't love the side art of the cabinet. It's a little plain as Judge Dredd on his motorcycle, but the playfield art and the backlash / translate, really good.
Yeah, I think I have an up close here of the translate. Well, it's not a low quality, not a very high quality one, but there it is.
Yeah, someone said, Hot Shower Boy said the newer Judge Dredd movie is good and much more loyal to the original comic style. Yeah, that's by the way, if you've not seen the new Judge Dredd movie, which new is now 2012, one of my favorite movies of all time. Super well done.
All right, I apologize for showing the topper already and getting everybody excited, but we'll get to that later. By everybody, I think
Goren's
you know who
hot
I'm
and
talking
bothered.
about. Yeah. So sound. We have sound by Paul Heitch, Vince Ponarelli. It's by Tim Kitzrow. I think the sound is very well done on this game. It's got kind of a metal, hard rock kind of vibe to it, which you would want in a game like this. I can still hear the and all the little sound effects are very well done.
Really good.
Call outs are really good. I think of the 5 years for flatulence and all that stuff that are in the game.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game with the granny with the shotgun. I don't know, there's just so many cool, fun. It's even though it's like a serious-ish theme, it's still fun and funny. I don't know. Music sound is great to me. What do you think?
I think it's fantastic, especially when you look in the time period that was made, right? You got to judge it within that. Really well done, really good music. Like Kevin said, I can hear it in my head. It's just really like wailing 90s, like like we always kind of imitate the music when we're playing, and we love it.
Yeah.
The good humor. There's multiple like announcers in the game, like multiple like voices. What is Tim Kitzrow doing? Do you know?
I don't know. Hey,
Who
there
he
are
voices?
some.
I didn't realize he was in there.
I didn't either. There's a female voiceover artist in here too, and she didn't get the call.
Yeah,
out
I forgot. She plays I forgot what that character's called, but
she's
the
got a
character's
punny
also
name that I can't remember.
Yeah, the character's also in the newer Judge Dredd movie, so it's part. I never read the comics. I don't know too much about Judge Dredd lore, but yeah, she's in it.
Yeah, so great sound. Toys, everybody's favorite category in the YouTube comments is to talk about the toys. So let's talk about toys in Judge Dredd. It's got some cool ones. You want some toys? This is a game with toys. It's got the crane on the far left there. You can see it in the back that feeds balls from the Dead World, which is the big spinning planet. We should note that there are two versions of the Dead World. A lot of times people will talk about the Dead World mod on this game, which takes a standard version, which it doesn't hold the balls. It just it will stage one for the final one that you lock. But the original design was that you would feed the balls up the left ramp. They would divert onto this Dead World planet, and they would spin around and hover. So
really cool. I put it on my game right before the timing was bad, man. I put the mod on right before I sold it, so I never really got to enjoy it that much. But it's a cool mod.
Yeah, there's an up close version. This has the mod version on it. So the mod version has holes to hold the balls. The final version has kind of slots there where the ball will fall out. So
yeah, the interesting thing is like this was the mod version what was supposed to be originally in the game, and it got cut I think for reliability issues. But you don't have to do it once you install the mod. You don't have to change the software at all because it's still it's baked into the software to work that way.
Yeah, I think you need the 1.0 software. So if you have later software, it's not in there.
Okay,
so
I didn't have to change it. It just worked. I just installed the mod, and it wasn't. I don't think it was too hard.
Yeah.
To put the mod in.
But it's very, very common to see this, especially with collectors. They'll put this in. But I think there was potential issues for hangups on location that they did away with that for. So, but in a home collection, definitely I would recommend adding the Dead World mod. It's cool as heck. It does slow the game down a little bit because when you don't have the mod in, it does virtual locks for 1 and 2.
Yep.
And then it will take ball 3 and divert it over and then feed it to the crane. But when you have it in, then it feeds ball 1, it goes onto the Dead World, it locks it, and then you go back into play. So very cool, awesome toys. I think that is basically the extent of the toys. You've got other features in it, like the sniper tower, which is an up kicker on the right side that feeds. I don't remember. Does that feed 1 ramp or 2? I can't remember.
I can't remember either, Kev.
It's been a while.
I think just 1. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of wire forms on this. It feeds that one upper wire form that feeds to the left, I believe, and the other. I'm trying to remember how everything feeds, but yeah. So, but the Dead World is your main toy. Very cool. Up there with some of the better toys in pinball, I would say, especially with the mod.
You need the mod. I would say the toy is sort of unremarkable without the mod, though. Like, I was surprised to hear you say like it's got a lot of toys, or if you love toys, or it's one of the better toys, because it's sort of okay without the mod. It's nothing special, but when then you put the mod in, that's when it shines.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm thinking of. That combined with the crane that takes them off there, it's a pretty cool combo of interactivity with a physical ball lock. That's the kind of like wow moments you look for in a
Yes.
pinball toy, right? Like it's doing something
Highly
cool.
recommend the mod. Highly recommend the mod. I think there's some futzing around getting like the optos to align. I think that's the hard part with it. Like, and it can go out of alignment. But if you got it in a home environment, then it's great. I wouldn't put the mod in and then put it out on location. I think you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, I agree. Display and lighting. Why don't you kick it off for display and lighting?
I'm better at talking about display. I think the DMD is really good. I think there's good humor in this game in terms of what the DMD does. The lighting, I don't remember too much about it, so I think it's going to be on par with a Bally Williams game from 1993, right? It is exactly what you would expect from that era. But the DMD is well done, I think.
Yeah, the DMD, and especially this is one of the ones when I think about a color DMD. I think this game just really shines when you put the color in there because it brings that comic hand drawn style of the dots and really brings it to life. I remember when we streamed it at John's house, he had the color DMD in there, and it just looked amazing compared to the orange grossness that I was so used to.
Actually, you know what I would say, Kevin, about the lighting? Now that I think about this and remember, I mean, this is going back,
It's like
10 years ago when I owned it. Yeah. It's a really dark game, actually. And the lighting, this is a game where you're going to want to put good like LEDs in it. It's too dark.
Yeah.
You might want to add spotlights to it. I think this might be a no-brainer for needing like a Pin Stadium kit.
Yeah.
It's just way too dark with stock lighting, especially incandescents. And I don't even think LEDs alone, because there's just areas where they probably should have had lights and they don't. So it's a really dark game. I'd say the lighting is poor on this because of that. You're going to have to mod it and make it better.
Yeah, I agree. I remember, so when I owned it, it was pre-Pin Stadium time, and I had gotten like a light strip to go under the back box to light up the back half of the game, because that's where it gets really dark, because there's so many mechs that are all stacked up, and that even if there are lights in the back, and there are a few, that it can only light up so much of that. So anything you can do, spotlights, Pin Stadiums, LED strips, trough lighting, stuff like that to really make it pop.
Yeah, that's where you're going to spend a lot of time. So
Yep.
you're going to get this game. If you get it stock, you should definitely invest some time into doing some mods on it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones you want to focus. Start with lighting first, then do the Dead World.
The other lighting moment I remember is it's got the blue and red flashers on the ramps when you get in
Oh
the
yeah,
police
that's
chase mode.
good. Yeah,
That's really
yeah. Oh, that's a cool mode. I know we haven't gotten to rules yet, but there's a lot of modes in this game, and I like the modes. The modes are cool. It shows off the DMD, it shows off the humor. But that mode, before you forget, you gotta it shows like a car chase moving back and forth, and you're shooting missiles at it. And you shoot a missile, like if you can time the ramp when the car's like on like the right side, it will shoot a missile and hit the car. That's what you're trying to do. So that's for 1993, that is an inventive mode. I think the game is kind of well thought out in terms of like the integration, the humor. I really like it. I really like how they did that.
Yeah, and so it does have some cool light show moments in it, even if you don't necessarily have the best lights in it. Those pop even with regular incandescent flashers. So very cool. So that leads us into gameplay. Why don't you take us into gameplay, Nick?
So the shots. This is a wide body game, and the shots are pretty good. Like the shot layout is good in there. There's some flow for sure. It's a flowy game. My biggest problem with this game is this is the era where Bally Williams doing wide bodies. It seems like that's what they were releasing for a couple of years. And I always thought that this game didn't need to be a wide body. The wide body made it feel more clunky, even though it's like a flow type of game. It's not as smooth as it can and should be. I think that there's no justification on that game where it needed to be a wide body. If this was a standard body game, I think it would have been much better. I think it would have been a faster game. And while I like the gameplay, I think it's good. That's certainly not necessarily a weak point. It would have been so much better if it was a standard body game.
Yeah, so You wouldn't be able to cram as much in as you did with a wide body. The amount of space the wide body gives you, like you've got that huge planet in there. You've got a bunch of shots there's like the upper flipper. If you've played Willy Wonka, it's got a similar layout for the upper flipper that feeds a few shots up at the top. And there's all these wireforms going all over the place. So I think there would have been some sacrifice moving this down to a standard body game. But Bally Williams was so like hot on super pins at this point that
maybe
it was
Wonka's a standard body game. It's got a lot going on,
but it doesn't have like that massive planet in it. You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, the planet didn't. My thing is the planet takes up a lot of real estate that dominates the wide body game, but you can do the planet without making it that big.
Yeah, you could scale that down. I agree.
I think you would get better gameplay and like maybe at the cost of a smaller planet, but you'd still have that in there.
Yeah, and you'd have to do maybe like 3 drop targets in the middle instead of 5.
Maybe
because you don't want to sacrifice the shots, because the shots like feel good and they're like I wouldn't want it to turn into a Houdini where you're sacrificing.
Yeah,
Houdini feels like it should be a wide body with how tight those shots are, right?
Yeah. You got a point for sure. I really wish it's like you can, like in an ideal like hypothetical world, you can see what this game looked like as a standard body versus wide body, and I put money on it being better, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, because there is a lot of open real estate here in the middle that is just like, okay, why do we need all that? But then there's a lot in the back and around the sides. So curious. It would be interesting to see how that plays. Somebody make it in virtual pinball real quick, and we'll check it out. Rules. So the rules are, I think, the one like downside of this game. What you mentioned, it's got a bunch of cool modes, and I agree. It's so if you look at, let me see if I've got so if you look at the links in the chain that go across the playfield, all those are different modes. And if you've never played this game before, you can select which mode you have lit by. So on the side of the cabinet right here, you can see it's got standard flipper buttons and also the bigger like diamond shaped buttons. You can the right button, the diamond shaped button on the side, will let you select which mode you want. And I typically started with blackout. It was like a 2-ball multi-ball.
Yeah.
And so you can get right into a 2-ball multi-ball, and you want to hit the upper flipper ramp shot from that to cash out points on there. But it's a good way to kind of get a feel for the game, get some points on the board. The modes are good in variety from a game of this era, but once you get through to the like wizard mode, it's like the wizard mode is a little lacking, I think. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of is what it is, and it's not particularly difficult to get to either. So I think that holds it back, because you can kind of plow through the modes pretty quick and then get to the ultimate challenge, and then, all right, I've seen it, I've done it. That's kind of all there is, even with all these cool physical elements on the game. I think this would be a great candidate for an update in rules.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100% with what Kevin said. Even when I was, a year and a half into pinball, right? So I've made a lot of progress. I've played a ton more machines. I've gotten better as a player. This game only lasted in my collection of like a couple games for maybe 3 to 6 months at the most. I mean, it didn't last. I was able to get to the end, and it fell flat. I think at the time for 1993, there's some inventive rules and there's a lot of modes, but it doesn't have the lastability factor, because after you spend no time with it, you're going to get to the end and it's going to be a little stale. I think this is a game that, as maybe it will come back to my collection as I'm kind of acquiring games again. I have a really large collection. It'd be cool to have in there and fun, but it just doesn't hold up, especially now, in 2021, where games and rules and expectations on lastability are just much higher than when you released a game in 1993 for on location just to make money.
Agreed. I mean, looking at it from a mechanical standpoint, it would be like a $15,000 Stern Super LE in 2021 terms. But from a rules perspective, it's really where it falls behind, and that's what the games of today really differentiate themselves with, is that next level of rule, especially for a home player. This is still a perfectly fine location game, and I love playing it. If we go out and there's one in an arcade, I'll gladly play it anytime because I have fun with it. But yeah, if given unlimited space, absolutely, it'd be one I have. It's a great looking game, great playing game, but we all have constraints in space and money, and something's got to go. And so that was a game when I was looking through and I was going, I guess I'm kind of done with this game.
I forgot you even owned one, Kevin, to be honest.
Yeah, twice.
Oh, wow. Jesus Christ. That's how forgettable that is. Yeah, it typically doesn't last long in collections because of that. That's not to say it's a bad game, but we frame this from collectors and in the home and all that. What we didn't talk about in the rules is a super game. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so that is a cool feature that adds another level of playability to it. So in the arcade, you could put extra credits in the machine and play super game, which presents with you a different set of rules where you start off in this crazy multi-ball. And I think you have to hit all the drop targets. I can't remember the specifics of the mode, but it's like a multi-ball frenzy mode, basically, where you start off with all these jackpots and crazy multi-balls, and then once you get down to one ball, I think you start back into regular play, right?
Yeah, it's cool, right? It's like it's I would call it a novelty, but it's nice and it's fun to have in there, and maybe newer players will like that, or if you have people over, it's kind of instant satisfaction of multi-ball and just another nice little touch and layer. And again, for 1993, there's a lot of respect in terms of what they packed into this game.
Yeah, this would still be a game that I would definitely recommend to a new player. And this kind of gets us into the last ability of the game. That's our last category. I would still, if you're just getting into pinball, you want a lot of game, you don't necessarily want to buy a $6,000 to $15,000 new pinball machine. Grab a Judge Dredd. You're going to have a great time with it. It's going to teach you a lot about how to play modes and wizard modes and things like that. You're going to have fun shooting it. It's going to look great in your game room. The sound and music and callouts are really good. But when you're looking to buy a new game, it's probably going to be one that you end up moving on. So Nick, why don't we get into our scores for the game? Let me see if I can pull up our website.
Yeah, it's been so long. I'm glad we're doing a review again. I like to get this out there. And again, Kevin and I wanted to review this game. We wanted to review kind of games that first-time buyers of pinball machines might be looking at based on the availability and pricing. So hopefully this has been helpful there. All right, Kevin, you got where are we? Pinball Adventures. Holy shit,
I had Punny Factory up there for some reason. We were
why not?
we were looking at it. All right, so if you go to buffalopinball.com/podcast, you can see our ratings of past games and also our score key, which is from 0 to 2 is Burn It. 3 to 5 is an expensive nightlight. 6 to 8 is a solid game. 9 to 10 is Get Your Wallets Out. Do you want to start or should I start?
I'll go. Well, okay. Who usually goes first? Because I say, and then we have this weird order where we try to mix it up.
Yeah, I can go first because I feel like
go ahead.
You always go first, and then you say I go a little bit higher than you.
I've got a number in my head. Okay, I've got a number in my head, so I'm locked in.
I was thinking 8, like solid game 8, but after we got started talking about the rules, I think that's going to knock it down to a 7 because it does so much so well that for the rules to be as kind of easy to plow through as they are, I think that holds it back, and it's really the only thing that holding it back. So it's definitely in the solid game range. It gets everything right. Even the modes are fun. There's just not enough there to keep it interesting in your home for a long time. So I'm going to give it a 7.
I'm 100% with you on that, Kevin. And at the end of the day, last ability is probably the most important category when we're talking about doing reviews of pinball machines, because again, we're talking from the perspective of potentially buying and recommending somebody spend money on a pinball machine. And look, you don't want to buy a pinball machine that you're going to get bored with in a few months. You can, that's fine. It depends on what you're looking for and how easy it is to move things around. But you just got to recognize where a Judge Dredd might play in your collection. New player, this might be higher and a great recommendation for a new player, especially the pricing. But I'm going to go with 7. It does a lot of things right, a lot of respect for this game. I'm happy I own it. I'm happy I spent time with it. But it didn't last long, and I doubt I'll ever have one again. Or what the circumstances are, but a good amount of respect because it does a lot of things right.
Agreed. Especially, when we owned it, there hadn't been this new wave of, we're awash in amazing games these days. So a lot of folks were looking back to the Bally Williams era for the great games of the time, especially if you didn't want to spend 10K on a Medieval Madness, which is what they were going for at the time. So you have to take it in the context of where we were at that time and when we bought the game. But I still think it's a good game for new players. Still a lot of fun, but you're gonna find your time with Judge Dredd is short, I would guess.
Yep.
All right. So we'll wrap it up. But if you're here for Topper Talk, don't go anywhere. It's coming up. It's gonna wrap
we're
up
gonna
the
end
show.
it on we're gonna end it on Topper Talk, and that's gonna be the show. So this is I think the way we're gonna do Topper Talk. So we're gonna close it out, and then Goren's gonna have the last word,
as he usually does, in all caps,
that's
and
super accurate, Kevin. Super appropriate
with the @ symbol all over the place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all right, don't forget you can follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out our YouTube channel for past shows. Subscribe to the podcast. So I've had a few folks say, hey, did your podcast disappear? It hasn't disappeared. We had to switch hosts a couple months ago. And in any time you switch podcast hosts, inevitably you're going to lose some folks who are either directly subscribed to your RSS feed or, like, I know, like, I had trouble updating it on a few platforms. So check it out. We're on anchor.fm now, if you want to subscribe to us there, or you can find us on iTunes and Spotify and a few other places, but they're all at buffalopinball.com/podcast. Email us at talkpinball@gmail.com if you got feedback, questions, comments on past shows, anything you want to tell us about right there. Follow and subscribe to us on Twitch. If you want to support the show, you can do it over there. $5 a month to subscribe, or you can use your Amazon Prime account to subscribe at no extra charge. You can send us some cash money on PayPal. Nick's got a buffalopinball@gmail.com set up on PayPal if you want to support us that way, or you can review us on your podcast platform of choice. Tell a friend, share the podcast, tell them you enjoy what we do, and that's us.
Yeah, so I want to also just a couple thanks to everybody. Number one, thanks to all of our subscribers who continue to support us and the new ones that came on board. I was looking at our subscriber numbers the other day, and they're nice. I'll call them healthy. Again, there's so much content out there. It's just a hell of a time to be alive. The amount of content and things competing for your attention, and I'm humbled, flattered that people come in our chat and spend time with us, and then throw bits our way and pay their $5 a month plus whatever to support us. So thank you. This is we're coming up, Kevin, on our 6th year of doing this podcast. We started in February. 5th year. We started in February 2016. We started our stream in February 2016 is when we started podcasting. January 2015 is when we started streaming. So we're hitting anniversaries, and I personally continue to love to do this. This is something I look forward to. I love helping people. I love promoting pinball. So thank you guys for all your support. Also, we were nominated with the TWIPY Award this year, which is nominations come from people submitting nominations. What did we get, Kevin, for a podcast?
Podcast, stream,
A podcast
and website. for some reason.
Don't understand how the fuck the website is and not like YouTube or something. But hey, listen, guys, we didn't. Kevin and I we talk about things like TWIPY and whatever new awards thing there is in pinball, and we don't get bent out of shape about this. I think Kevin and I approach this. We do this because, one, we simply enjoy it. I connect with my friend Kevin and we talk pinball, and we decide to turn some cameras on us and share that with the rest of the world. And I think we do a show that we're proud of and we think help people. So we don't ask. We never really talk about this, and we don't ask. We don't solicit. We don't buy Facebook ads or anything, and yet you guys still submitted and us for these categories. So thank you. I mean, that's I appreciate that. Without even trying to drive votes, we're on there. So I'm glad to get that feedback. Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, shows you guys value what we do, and we come to mind when things like that come up. It means a lot, and really appreciate you guys doing that for us. So without further ado, I think it's time to get into Topper Talk. What do you think, Nick?
I think so. I think we're going to win all the awards next year because of this segment. Here, we're banking on it.
All right,
Here
Goren,
we go.
you got to get us some awards, buddy. All right, until next time, have a great month. We'll see you on Twitch, and take it easy. Bye.
It's Topper Talk with Goren right now. Let's all have some fun. This is about plastic on top of your pin. Go and buy one now. There's a topper here and a topper there. Here a topper, there a topper, everywhere a topper. It's critical to the gameplay experience. You must buy one now. It's your monthly fill of toppers right now. Topper Talk with Goren. Hello and welcome to another episode of Topper Talk with Goren, the part of the podcast where Kevin and Nick give me about 3 to 5 minutes to talk about everything happening in the very active and profitable Topper community. Now today we'll be talking about 2 different toppers, but both available for the Willy Wonka pinball machine from Jersey Jack Pinball. The first topper that we'll be talking about is the topper that was available for purchase for anyone with a Willy Wonka pinball machine, and that is the Wonkatania Topper that I have right here. It's a very nice topper. It's not interactive with the game, but it features Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka in front of his boat, the Wonkatania, with the Oompa Loompas rowing the boat, and then the chocolate waterfall in the background. It's an iconic scene from the movie. And although it's not interactive, it is very nice to look at when you're not playing or the game is on. You have these nice LEDs that cycle down, giving a waterfall type effect. It's not a, the type of effect that you would see on whitewater, but it is a very nice effect. I do wish it was interactive, but that's okay. It's very well built. It's a very thick piece of multi-plastic. I'll put in some photos. There's a nice metal backing as well. It's just a very well and nice, well-constructed topper. It was not included with the game, but that's okay. And it was, I believe, $300, but they've also had it on sale for $250, I believe, around Father's Day time. You really can't beat that. If you're looking for something nice to go on top of your pin, I highly recommend this topper for the Willy Wonka pinball machine. Now we're going to head over to the computer and talk about the Willy Wonka Collector's Edition topper that was included with the Collector's Edition version of the game. All right, so we're now at the computer to discuss the Willy Wonka Collector's Edition topper. Now, I do not own a Collector's Edition Wonka machine, but Buffalo Pinball viewer NS Pinball kindly sent in videos and photos of his machine. We're going to watch some of that now. So we can see the topper here. All right looking. We have, candy in the background, then an Oompa Loompa, and then a big Wonka bar plastic. Similar to the LE topper, there's some dimension to it. You've got some RGB lighting. That is interactive with the game to an extent. It's not that interactive, but it'll cycle through different colors during different parts of the game. You do have this unfortunate casting of light on the side of the wall. I believe that also occurs on the ceiling as well. Let's look at more of a close-up here. So, here's the subject matter. It's all right to look at. I like the LE topper better, in my opinion. The plastic looks very thin, a lot cheaper. You look at it from the side, you get that casting on the wall still, the light, and it's held together using pinball posts. And this sort of feels like one of the early toppers that would come out of Stern and not so much JJP, in my opinion. Not a bad topper. It's included for free, although, you're paying more for the collector's edition. But that's just my opinion. I do have a theory as to what I think happened with this topper.
Speculation alert. Speculation alert. Not on good authority.
What I think happened, and let me go over to, an early mock-up of the collector's edition version of the game. You can see the topper that I purchased on top of the collector's edition game. And if you all recall, there were some licensing holdups with the collector's edition version of the game. I think it might have had to do with Gene Wilder's imagery and getting approvals from the estate. I think that approval was taking so long, they decided to axe the topper, quickly put in another topper that they could build themselves that didn't, include Gene Wilder's imagery. And then once it did get approved, they ended up selling the stock that they had of the other topper. Just a theory, no confirmation behind it. But hey, overall, I like both of these toppers. I do think the CE topper is probably not as good as the other CE toppers. The Pirates one sets the bar high. But hey, can't beat a free topper.
All right, well, that concludes this episode of Topper Talk with Goren. Tune in next month for another episode. And as always, get out there, play some pinball, and buy a topper.